Hey guys, this is Casey from 7th Generation Design. Today I want to share with you two different applications that we're using in our consultancy business to create dynamic implementation roadmaps for our clients. Usually when we deliver a level 2 whole site design report, there's a lot of different elements in there pertaining to areas as diverse as water, from access, structures, energy systems, economy, social systems, you name it. So the real challenge is, how do we present that to our clients in a way that they can see it, literally see it, see like a roadmap of do this thing first, do this second, do this third, and here's the reasoning why. And how can we present it in a way that's dynamic, that's adjustable? Because we know that any plan, as soon as you start implementing, it needs to be adjusted, right? It's always going to change. Plans are just good ideas. They always get blown out of the water as soon as you start implementing. So this system, using Trello and a plugin called BigPicture, allows us to track all of that information from all those different multivariate viewpoints in one place. It allows us to be in conversation with our clients, and at the same time it gives them a visual display of, like, okay, this is the order in which we should go about eating the elephant. Let's take this bite first, let's take this bite second. This has proven very helpful for us, just in terms of managing the presentation of the projects, and also for our clients in terms of, okay, this is my next step. They know what that next piece is. The application's a great kind of second brain for both parties to utilize. So without further ado, I'm going to go into basically how we use Trello and how we use BigPicture to create these dynamic implementation roadmaps. Hopefully this can be a very valuable tool for you guys in creating better projects that have a higher chance of success of being implemented well.
This is what our internal company board at 7th Generation Design looks like. This is not the actual format that we use to manage projects, but it gives you yet another use case for the Trello application itself in terms of just managing workflows, managing all the various threads and data streams that are involved when you're running a broadacre regenerative landscape design and install business. So the real meat and potatoes I want to get to over here are the different project specific boards. So these are all different consultancies that we've done level 2 whole site designs for and created implementation roadmaps. I'm going to click up here on the GFR implementation roadmap. So this is the basic board organization. There's organized into lists first and foremost. So we have the ideas list, the action pending list, the doing list, and then a milestones list. We've dropped that one on most recent projects, and then we have an established or done list. And as things progress from one list to the other, for example, if it's like time to start working on this gravity-fed 4-chamber water purification system, we can grab this card on the ideas list and drag it over to action pending, and it would sit up there. But I'm going to leave this here since I'm not going to mess with Aaron's organization of this. Basically, this is something that we prepare initially for the clients upon delivery of our level 2 whole site design report, but then they get to tweak it and adjust it and interact with it and then record their own information in there as well. And we as the designers get to be on the other side of this application, which is a helpful kind of second brain tool for both the clients and us, and a great medium of communication. So as I said earlier, on each list are these cards. If I click on any one of these cards, it pulls up data that is relevant to that specific element. So for this example, we had talked about looking at using some of the different waste trees that need to be cut down on the property and inoculating those to grow edible and medicinal mushrooms. So this card brings up everything related to growing mushrooms on the property. Let's see if we can find the Johnson Sioux card. Here we go. Johnson Sioux bioreactor construction and initiation. So this is something that Aaron has already implemented since we delivered the report. I'll click on this card and you can see that we have a bunch of things going on here. So I'll start from the top down. Number one is that we have different labels, and we categorize, when we're creating these project implementation roadmaps, our different elements by biological, built, or enterprise. And then sometimes there's a fourth one, community related, on there. You can create whatever labels you want, assign whatever colors you want to them right here. And this is just a helpful way to create more navigability, especially when we get into the dynamic Gantt charting portion of this application. Here in the description section, we have a few permanent links to relevant sections of the design report. So for example, now that I've clicked on this card, brought this information up, I can click on that link, and this is going to take us directly to the larger Google document that will then go right to the relevant report section. And the way we do that is by inserting these little bookmarks here. So you can just click on that. There's the link. I can copy that link, boom, and then I can go back to Trello. I can paste that link here. I'll do another example as an attachment if I wanted to. I could just drop that link in, say this is the Johnson Su bioreactor section. I'll attach it, and then it'll come up here in attachments. So you have multiple different ways. You could also drop these links down here in the comments and activity section, whatever way is most appealing. So we have basically all of those relevant report sections detailing anything pertinent to that element, in this case, the Johnson Su bioreactors, right here in the card. So it's very easy for our clients to jump to that specific report section, which is nice when you're dealing with a rather large, 200 to 300 page report. And then there's also supporting information. So other things on high value nutrient processing, and that'll go to the relevant report section as well. Down here, we can leave comments for each other. So I can leave a comment for my partner, Wes. I can leave comments for Aaron. You'll see as these come up, this name down here pops up. So I can just say yes, and that'll tag them. It'll make sure they get notified if I leave a specific comment for them, like, how did the installation go? I won't add that here, but you can see how that will work. So it's a way for us to have an ongoing conversation, to stay updated, and to ask questions back and forth as things are implemented within the larger site design. There's many other features too that are relevant here. You can add specific members of your team. So we have both Wes and myself, and we have Aaron and Carolyn on the board. We could add other people. We could bring in third-party contractors, friends, additional people that may move onto the property. Like I said earlier, we can assign labels. We can create checklists. So if it's time to start ramping up to begin building the Johnson Su's, I can create a checklist with like materials needed. All right, we'll call it that. We'll add this and we'll start saying, okay, we need concrete remesh, boom, times 3. And we just start making a list down there. And then as you purchase these items or as they're taken care of, you can check them off. I'm just going to delete that list so I don't mess up Aaron's card here. We can assign due dates to each thing. So if there are hard and fast dates when certain elements need to be implemented, we can make sure that that's logged on the calendar, so we can add due dates there. This can also integrate with Google Calendar and basically all the other calendar applications. As I mentioned earlier, we can do attachments. So you can upload files directly to this card. It integrates with Dropbox, Box, OneDrive, Google Drive, you name it, files straight from your computer. And there's a whole host of additional plugins like Evernote, Calendly, etc. that you can work with. So that's cool. I won't go into these down here, but basically you can move or make templates out of cards. You can assign certain cards to your watch list so you get all the notifications of everything that happens on them, even if you're not tagged. And then when cards are no longer being used, you can archive them or you can share them with specific people down here. This is actually very helpful if you're having conversations, say with a third-party contractor regarding coming in and helping to build these Johnson Su bioreactors. You can send him a link to just this card, so he doesn't have to have information about the whole project. I can embed this card using some HTML code, and I can basically use this email code right here as a CC on an email and track any relevant conversations that are happening outside of the Trello app, and then they'll just ping in here so they're available for anyone who needs to reference them. So lots of functionality for just acting as the second brain and kind of offloading all of those finer details as the implementation gets organized. I think that's the basics of the Trello board, and the real power, not that that wasn't helpful enough, but the real power comes in, okay, how can we see this as a whole? How can we picture the entire process. So for that, we integrate with the BigPicture plugin. That's going to load here for a second. So this plugin takes every single card in each of the lists and organizes them into a dynamic Gantt chart. And in this case, we've customized the organization. You can choose which types of data. You can choose how the various tasks are organized by list, by due date, title, labels, etc. You can group the tasks in different ways. You can expand and collapse. You have multiple different viewing modes. I won't go into detail on these, but basically we've kind of found how we like to do ours, generally fairly compact. We like to see task structure and markers. The really valuable thing that happens here is, one, we get a dynamic implementation roadmap. So we can look at things that have already been done and completed back here in the summer of 2020, and then we're moving forward. The now line, this red line, is the present moment, and then we can kind of take a look out into the future. What's very helpful, especially in these complex designs where we're trying to create integrations between different elements, right? Multiple functions served by the same element and multiple elements serving the same function. We get to create dependency links. So we can see like, okay, hey, having the old barn taken down on the property might be a really good source of materials for other construction projects. So I've got these other dependency links like, hey, once that's done, then maybe we can use those materials to build the compost toilet. And you'll notice I can drag this old barn takedown around. So that means I can actually shift its timeline depending on how the project's going, and you can adjust, right, which is a critical part, adjust and integrate feedback of any implementation process. You can assign specific characteristics to each of these dependency links. So from like, for example, okay, I want to take down the barn. We're working on that now, but I'm not going to build the compost toilet until 2 months later. I'm just going to give that a 60-day lag, or I'll just make it a little better for demo purposes, a 2-week lag. And you can decide, assign which way that works, from end to start link, start to start, end to end, or start to end, any way you need to. And then I'll just save that, and then boom, there we go. We've got a 2-week pause, and now if I were to drag, say, hey, no, we're actually not getting started on this for a while, I push the old barn out, but then that also pushes out the compost toilet construction process. And you can also take it back, say delete it, and save. So that's what's awesome about the BigPicture piece, is that you get a dynamic roadmap. Save that, there we go. You get a dynamic roadmap that kind of looks at the whole project and gives you a visual map of how the various elements integrate with one another and what might be most advantageous to do ahead of something else, to make sure you're putting the right functions in place to support future elements, and to make sure that you're not just creating a management nightmare for yourself when you're going about implementing such a complex system as this. So that is the roadmap. I can look at different timelines. So if you wanted to see everything kind of squished down, you can look at the bird's eye view and there's everything all at once. Not super helpful. And let's go to the year. So you can kind of see everything. That's like, okay, this is where we're at in terms of getting various large scale implementation projects done. And then you can drill down to much more granular timelines. So I can look at the month down here, and I can see, okay, where are we here? So if you're, really, hey, we're going to have an earthworks installation for a week, we can get very granular with planning different elements and different days workloads in this process. So we generally like to keep it right around a half year to a quarter. It's kind of a good, helpful layout. So that's BigPicture. The cool thing is this functions just like the Trello board. So if I wanted to go back up here to the Johnson Sioux again, if I click on this little purple line here, it brings up the card as it did previously. So then we get all that same information. So from the actual Gantt chart, boom, pulls me right up to the card that has sections or has links to all the relevant information regarding implementing the Johnson Sioux bioreactors. So this has proven to be a useful tool for us, and then we're still in kind of the testing phase and getting feedback from clients on how helpful it is for them, or is it just another thing. But thus far it's been well received as a helpful tool for just eliminating some of the overwhelm that can come with managing broad acreages and implementing a big vision, especially when you're thinking in a multi-generational timeline.
So that's our video on Trello and BigPicture and how we use them to create dynamic implementation roadmaps for our whole site design projects. We hope this video has been really helpful for you, and hopefully it'll be a good tool for you to use to create better, more easily decipherable projects for your clients. If you're interested in more content like this, go ahead and subscribe somewhere over here, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.